Just adjusting the lights here. Just make sure the lighting levels are okay. Yeah, that's fine. Evening all. Well, I've just got back from holiday and had a really nice time. I was down in Cornwall. I was thinking of doing a couple of videos last week, as I saw Sargon was on holiday and he was taking time to make videos. So I thought maybe I should as well. But circumstances didn't get round to it. I was a very active holiday. A lot of stuff at the beach, swimming, surfing, that kind of thing. I was exhausted. I was with my extended family as well, and there really wasn't a space where I could sit down, do a piece to camera, edit it, and get it uploaded without sort of people walking in and out in the background and telly being on and all family chat as well. So I decided to shelve it for the weekend. Also, a lot of the other commentators were talking about the same thing, so I didn't think I had anything particularly new to say. But some things happened on the holiday that I thought were interesting, particularly with my extended family. So to fill you in on the background, I was with my wife, my two children, my mother and father-in-law, and also my sister-in-law and her boyfriend. So there was quite a lot of us in a large farmhouse. And what was interesting is that most of us are, I would say, well, I think all of us on the holiday were pretty much mainstream right, small c conservatives for the most part, if you had to average out our political views. But what was interesting is that my mother and father-in-law, they're I'm not going to give their ages, but they're older people, and for them, for years, news agencies like the BBC and the Times have been big features in their lives. They've been their main news source for decades. You get the Times; it's a very respectable newspaper. You watch the BBC, respected news agency. But on this holiday, this spell was broken because normally my in-laws are absolutely dedicated to getting the Times every day, even wherever we go on holiday with them. When they go away on holiday, they always take a moment. Oh, we got to get to the local shops to get a copy of the Times. We've got to get today's Times. On this journey, they got it on the first 2 days, and they bought the previous day's one with them because I hadn't done the crossword yet. And looking at the letters columns, the letters columns were all pro-Remain letters in the letters column, and it was all very pro-social Democrat stuff. And it annoyed them. And the news stories and the coverage, they were looking, because they're quite well-informed people, and they're also local councillors, so they're very close to kind of the goings on of local government and what policies are. And they just kept saying, they kept reading news stories, particularly that concerned local government, going, that's not right. No, that's not right. They've reported that wrong. And they gave up buying the Times on the holiday. They didn't seem fussed. They didn't seem like they were missing out by not buying that day's copy of the Times. And with the BBC, started off first couple of days watching the BBC news in the evening, and they were just going, this is just wrong. They knew, they had information, they were knowledgeable, they're knowledgeable about subjects. And also my sister-in-law and her boyfriend, clever people as well. My wife is a bonds trustee lawyer for a City of London bank, and they were just watching the BBC News go, that's not right. They're not telling the truth. They're not being honest. And on the third day, the BBC News at 10 o'clock went off. And it did not come back on for the rest of the holiday. They got their news elsewhere. And I thought that was interesting, the sea change shift. People who for years, for decades, had put their faith in the BBC and the Times to give them reasonably accurate reporting. And now it's too much. Now the spell has been broken. So I thought that was interesting. That's what emerged from the holiday. I mean, everything else was just larking about, but that was the kind of cultural stuff that I thought was interesting. So what's been happening? Well, this is kind of like a personal week for me. Normally I sit on the sidelines in the culture war and I comment on things that have happened, but very few of these things directly affect me. Until about 10 days ago, when I got involved in a dispute with a fact-checking website called Truth or Fiction, an American site, over that incident that happened during the European Parliament elections, where army veteran in his 80s who was doing some polling. He was outside a polling station in Aldershot, wearing a Brexit Party rosette, and he's there doing kind of like polling data things. You know, they basically they ask people as they go in to the polling station or as they come out, you know, who did you vote for? What's your polling number? Now, this isn't sinister. This is really to see if their voter base is getting out. So these are like kind of like exit polls. So it's, you know, all parties do it, and there's nothing sinister about it whatsoever. However, apparently, somebody who a staunch Remainer decided to do that milkshake thing and just lob a milkshake at this guy. I say allegedly. I'm just legally covering my ass here because truth or fiction, they don't like me and I don't like them. So what happened was that I noted that incident after I got home from voting in the morning after I did the school run. I checked my emails and my Twitter feed and I saw that story. Didn't comment on it, moved on. At about lunchtime, on my lunch break, I checked my Twitter feed again, and I saw that Hampshire Police said they received a third-party witness statement reporting the incident and that they were investigating it. I didn't like the tweet, I didn't hit the like button, I didn't retweet it, I didn't comment on it, I didn't screen cap it. I just made a note of it and moved on because why would I? You know, it's just, I didn't feel like I had anything to say on the subject. So later on in the afternoon, between 4 and 5 o'clock, there was a tweet put out by a British comedy writer called wait a minute. Jeremy Dyson, that was it. So anyway, the comedy writer, he's written for BBC Two's The League of Gentlemen TV series. He tweeted out the photo of the old man with the milkshake splash on his shirt, saying this is disgraceful. No, so it was interesting that the BBC writer would denounce milkshaking. I would have thought that it was mandatory to support it at the BBC, but no. Fair dues to Jeremy Dyson. He did criticise the attack. Anyway, a number of people then wrote, "Oh, it was all staged. It was fake." And I just added in at that point. I said, no, at lunchtime I saw a tweet from Hampshire Police saying that they were investigating it and that it wasn't staged. Now, I made a mistake there because they said that it wasn't staged. What they actually said was that they received a third-party witness report that they were investigating. Now, you've got to bear in mind, I saw the Hampshire Police tweet over 4 hours earlier, and I made a note of it. Remember, I didn't do anything other than just note the tweet. So I got it wrong because in my mind, like a lot of people, when you hear the phrase third-party witness, you kind of take it to mean that that's somebody who's not invested in perpetuating a lie or being part of fakery. They've seen something, they've reported it. Okay, so I kind of conflated that it was definitely not staged with a third-party witness report, but that's a mistake I think a lot of people make. Now, the problem is when you're dealing with people on the left are hung up over the semantics. If you don't get the wording exactly right, they all accuse you of being a liar, they accuse you of being dishonest. That was not my intention. I just kind of extrapolated on something that the Hampshire Police had said, and that was because I couldn't quite remember what the Hampshire Police had said. I just saw third-party witness, therefore this incident more than likely happened. And so I tweeted a response. But anyway, what happened next was that Brooke Binkowski, who is manager of a fact-checking website called Truth or Fiction, then tweeted to me saying, "Do you have proof of this tweet from Hampshire Police?" Okay. And I said, look, I just saw it. I gave her the caveat, I just saw it 4 hours ago in passing. I didn't make a note of it. I didn't screen cap it. I didn't like it. I just saw it and I moved on. Okay. And I'm just mentioning it here now. And so she said, I really want to know about this tweet. So I said, okay. I've done this before where somebody from the left has demanded, when I say I've seen something, a Twitter feed or a news article somewhere, and they go, I want the date, I want the name of the article, I want the name of the person who wrote it, I want the exact wording, and you end up having to defend something by spending a lot of time going back over your social media feed to try and find the thing that you saw in passing a little bit earlier on for the benefit of a lefty who doesn't believe you. So I know how long and complex this could be. So I said, look, I don't know. I don't know if I've got the time to do it, but if I find it, I'll send it to you. So what I did then was that I just went into the Twitter search bar just on the off chance. I put in Hampshire Police, and fortunately, it was top of the Hampshire Police's Twitter feed. So it turned out to be easy, but these things can take a long time. You have to go through social media archaeology to try to find out, because people on the left need to know the exact wording, otherwise you're a liar. And that's kind of where we're heading with this story. So I found the tweet and then I forwarded it on to Brooke Binkowski. So luck would have it, I found the tweet pretty quickly. I thought it was weird because I said Hampshire Police put out this tweet and Brooke Binkowski didn't look it up herself. She got me to do it for her. I'm not even getting paid for this. She's supposed to be the professional fact checker and she can't go and find this tweet from the Hampshire Police herself. And it turned out it was quite easy to find this tweet. So I sent it to her. Anyway, the next thing was that a few minutes later, an associate, another employee at Truth or Fiction called Kim LaCapria, then tweeted back to me, and it was not a nice tweet. She tweeted back a video of a rap artist. Now, I don't know the rap artist. I don't know rap music because I'm a prog man. But in it, this rapper was looking at the camera and going, why you always effing lying? Why you always lying? Why you always effing lying? You see, I can't rap. And I took offence to that, I was just thinking, hang on. If I was lying, I wouldn't have bothered to find the original tweet that I saw and forwarded on to her boss. If I was deliberately set out to lie, what I would have done is that when challenged, I would have just muted the conversation and beat a hasty retreat. Bail out of there, not my problem anymore. But no, I actually dug out the tweet and then I explained, it wasn't quite the same wording. So I wasn't deliberately lying, and I was pretty offended by this. Now, this is not like when a random person kind of calls you a liar, calls you out, because this is a professional fact-checking website these people work for, okay? And between Jeremy Dyson's Twitter followers, if I added his Twitter followers up with Kim LaCapria's Twitter followers and Brooke Binkowski's Twitter followers and Truthful Fiction accounts followers, that was over 3,000 people. I think it was getting towards 3,500 people might see this on Twitter. And then suddenly the likes of Brooke Binkowski, when Kim LaCapria sent me that abusive tweet, Kim LaCapria then, Brooke Binkowski then liked it. So this is the manager of a professional fact-checking website, a former manager of Snopes.com until she left in very dark circumstances, involving the owners of Snopes getting involved in fraud and pornography and prostitution. But anyway, so these professional fact checkers are smearing me, calling me a liar in front of potentially quite a large audience. This is bad news for me. I don't want this to stick because I know how it goes. You put a smear out on someone and then suddenly all the political partisans start liking it and retweeting it. And I had to go into damage limitation mode on this because I did not lie. I mean, I got details wrong, but essentially I didn't lie. I didn't set out to lie. That wasn't my intention. And when I was challenged, provide the original tweet, I went out and found it and gave it to them. So that's not the act of a liar. Those are not the actions of a liar. So anyway, I wrote a letter of complaint to Binkowski and to Truth or Fiction. I said, at the end of the day, I did not lie. I didn't set out to lie, and I proved to them, I showed them why I wasn't lying, because there was no gain in it for me to provide them with the original tweet, and that they had no grounds to call me a liar. There's no proof, there's no evidence. This is against my reasonably good name, and that I wanted an apology. I heard nothing. Then I wrote a second letter of complaint, heard nothing. So now my advice to people is, if you are contacted over a news story by Kim LaCapria, Brooke Binkowski, Truth or Fiction, or they go under their Twitter handle is eRumors, @eRumors, but it's spelled the American way without the U. No, RUMORS. Okay. Don't respond to them. Just blank them out, mute them if you need to, block them if you need to. But don't get involved with them, because they are not honest people. I've subsequently found out that Kim LaCapria is often used by Brooke Binkowski as a kind of attack dog, because another website ran a story that they didn't like, even though I don't think they got their details wrong, but there was a clash. And Kim LaCapria then put out a smear hit job on this website on social media. So I don't think, based on my dealings with them and based on other people's dealings with them who have let me know what they were like, I don't think these are honest people. I don't think they act with good faith. I think they're activists. And if you don't give them the responses that they want, they will smear you. That is my opinion. I am trying to look in all legal ways that will not get my Twitter account shut down or my YouTube channel removed, or I lose my social media. I'm trying to act all within terms and conditions and the law and rules and regulations, but I want that apology. And because it is just blatantly unfair and it's unprofessional for them. You don't go around. I mean, if you are running a professional site, you do not use that language. You do not adopt that attitude towards people, even if you're having a disagreement with them. Okay, so it's unprofessional for them. My advice, if you want a fact-checking website, do not use Truth or Fiction. Do not get in contact with Brooke Binkowski. Sever all ties with them. That is my opinion. Okay. I will also ask people, Puppy, do not contact them about my case. Okay. Do not harass them. Do not dox them. Okay. If you have bad experiences yourself and you want to share them with me, please do on my in the comment section below, or you can contact me on Twitter. But share me your experiences, okay? But please don't white knight for me, okay? As you can see, I really don't like being accused of lying. I mean, we all get our facts wrong. We all get details wrong. Was the intention to set out to lie and deceive people? And that's something I am very scrupulous about. I really don't like liars in real life, and I try and hold myself up to a big standard. I think out of all of Jordan Peterson's 12 rules for life, the one, tell the truth, or at least don't lie, I think it is the most important one. So it hasn't been a good week for me in that, because I've been smeared on the other side of the political aisle. So I'm on a Discord server, and there's a lot of political talk on it, and quite a few people on this server are anarcho-capitalists. And now I'm not an anarcho-capitalist myself. I've always described my political views as I'm somewhere on the right. So I'm a mixture. I'm mostly conservative, but I have kind of libertarian ideas on certain issues. I also have kind of centre-right leanings on other issues. I'm very much, what informs a lot of my political opinions, a lived experience And also, I'm respectful of realpolitik. I think it's all right to have these theories, but once rubber hits the road and real life creeps in, sometimes these ideals get knocked about a bit, and what emerges is a kind of more tested, more practical version of the ideal. So I'm a big believer in that. I stick up for democracy. I know democracy has flaws. I'm not saying it's a god. I don't know anybody who holds democracy up to be a god, but I'm very much agree with Karl Popper when he says that democracy is really about removing an unpopular and unsuccessful government as it is about putting somebody in. I think it's more important that you have a non-violent mechanism for change of government when that government goes wrong. So there's that. I'm also very Judeo-Christian in my philosophical outlook, and English classical liberal. So I don't fit the ANCAP mold. And sometimes it's frustrating when dealing with ANCAPs, because certainly I prefer them as people over socialists, Marxists, progressives, social democrats. They're far better, because I think their aims, their ideals, kind of come from a more noble place about the individual, the rights of the individual and the power of the individual, which I fully identify with. But I don't think anarcho-capitalism can work in practice. And what I'm trying to say, please don't draw me into, don't proselytize to me, is what I'm saying, because I've been back and forth on this. Okay, and I'm just really not shifting. I'm not there. I can't share the vision. Okay. So what happened on this server was that a few months ago, this didn't even happen last week. This happened some time ago. There was discussions about the practicalities and the feasibility, like standing armies versus private security and mercenary armies, which is better. The ANCAPs were arguing for the completely private security defense. And I was playing devil's advocate, and I said openly, look, guys, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. So they were sharing the ideas of how the ANCAP military would work. And I'm there looking at what I think are potential weaknesses in the argument, using kind of like my knowledge of military history and realpolitik as well. So what was mentioned a lot were the Renaissance Italian city-states, which relied pretty much on mercenary armies to conduct war and for defense. But history shows that wasn't ultimately it was unsuccessful, that system. And there were problems with that system. So I was just putting the problems there. I'm sort of, okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I'm going to try and spot flaws. I call it wargaming out ideas, because as a war game, what you do is that you sometimes you get involved in games not because you're trying to win them, but you're saying, okay, if we played this game out, but I adopt this strategy or this tactic, how would it work within the rules of the game? There's play testing things. So that's what I was doing here, and I was upfront and open about it. But some of the people in this discussion thought I was being a dick. That was not my intention. I wasn't deliberately stirring the pot. I'm just providing the alternative argument, being the devil's advocate. And all these months later, people are still smarting about that day. That happened quite a long time ago, saying I was a bad faith actor. And again, coming hot on the heels of my running with Truth or Fiction, that just stuck in my craw. No, I'm not having this. I'm not having this. Anybody who goes to that, I don't want to be part of anything that is just going to smear me like that. And, I'm not going to mention some people's names. I've been talked back and said, oh, no, don't leave. There's some genuinely nice guys or girls. I haven't met many of them in person. But I don't need it, okay, guys? I try and act as a good faith actor, but sometimes you need debate to sharpen your arguments, okay? And sometimes I know people in my own life who do this. My wife does it. She says sharpening my arguments by playing devil's advocate. Okay, that's what you think, but what would happen if this happened, if this set of circumstances happens? Okay, So I don't need this in my life. You call me a liar, I'm out of there. Okay, you call me a liar in front of many people, I'll stand up to you. Okay, you got to have rock solid proof. And if you don't have rock solid proof, get out. There's the exit door. Okay. As I said, this biscuit is kind of more personal. There's so much more I could talk about the Tory leadership race, but it's still up in a state of flux. Although I am noticing that Roy Stewart has become the media establishment's darling. Okay, but amongst the general public and amongst mainstream, the mainstream right wing, they're not having any of it. But it's interesting to notice the kind of the media darling versus what the public actually think of them. I want to see how that plays out. I'll do a follow-up video on that. But tonight, I've come back from a really nice holiday. I've just got shit to deal with all this smearing and people just look. The simple thing is, if you want to know what I mean, ask me. Okay, what did you mean by that statement? Ask the question. Don't just think of the question in your mind and then think of what come up with the answer yourself. You want to actually talk to people. It's as simple as that. You just talk, you dialogue, okay, and then we all get a bit wiser, hopefully. And you know what? All these people calling me flipping liars and sending me abusive rap videos and doing Twitter archaeology. You know what? It really does take the biscuit. Just adjust that light again.